Hey, Tommy from the Rochesters, and welcome to the monthly roundup video. This is the video we talk about the things that we've been testing over the past few weeks that we haven't been able to mention in other videos. We're a bit behind this month because it was Christmas and everyone was busy. So this is the December guide, but moving into January. Right, let's dive in and see what we picked this month.
The first thing I want to pick out I've been testing out this month is the new Zunnies range of running sunglasses from Zenni Optical. It's a US-based brand. I think they do ship to the UK. Obviously, you have to pay a bit extra for that, but this is probably more one that's going to suit people who are in the US. So they've got a new range of running sunglasses. They are lightweight, all the stuff you expect from running sunglasses, good grippers on the nose pads and on the side of the kind of arms to keep them in place on the run. And they do prescription glasses as well. And they're all pretty reasonably priced, I think is the really important thing here. So these are classic wraparound sports sunglasses that cost about $24 for the base model, and then even if you get prescription, they're going to cost about $130, $150, depending on things like the lens tint you choose, things like anti-fog, anti-scratch, all those kind of options you can. But even still, if you put in all the most expensive options, they are pretty good value running sunglasses for sure with prescription. And I've been using them quite a lot on the sunny days we have had here occasionally in the UK winter. And they're great. Yeah, you put them on and you forget about them. They grip quite tightly, but not so tightly they put any pressure on the sides of the head, which I sometimes get with sunglasses. They don't move at all on the run. I've used them for lots of fast runs. They fit comfortably around headphones because of the way the arms sit quite close to the side of the head. So yeah, there's different options in the range as well. If you want something less sporty, these are also available in the Zunnies range, which are kind of more classic sunglasses in general. They're not prescriptions, I won't be able to see now, but yeah, they're quite big, those you can see. So yeah, that's the Zunnies range from Zenni Optical. I think it's a nice new option to have on the market. They're coming in a lot cheaper than stuff like Oakley or Roka, which obviously make very good running sunglasses. You get a lot more kind of options in terms of lenses and stuff like that if you look at those brands, and customization from a brand like SunGod. But this Zunnies range I think is really good value all round from Zenni Optical. And then the next thing I want to pick out this month is the Vaga Feather Racing Cap, which is a lightweight hat I actually bought when I was at the Inverness Loch Ness Marathon Festival. I bought it the day before the 10K and then wore it for the 10K the next day because I hadn't taken any hats up. And just a really nice lightweight hat with quite a small brim. So I think that's kind of the key feature here. I tend to wear it down, but you can flick it up if people like to do that. I know as well. But basically, you've got a really lightweight hat, all the usual stuff, crushable, easy to pack. You can wash it in the machine, stuff like that. Usual Vaga stuff, nice range of styles. And it's really lightweight, and you've got the smaller brim, which I do like because mainly if I'm wearing a hat in a race, I'm probably mostly using it as for sweat absorption rather than for protection from the sun, because I race so often in the UK. And that's what you get here. You get all the kind of absorption you need for long, hard runs. I've used it for a lot of long training runs as well as that race, while having this very small and lightweight design. See, the downside of the shorter peak is you get less protection from the sun. If it is a very sunny day, obviously the angle it protects you from is a little bit less kind of effective and widespread as with a hat with a longer brim. But like I say, for the most part, it doesn't matter too much for me here in the UK, and I just like the fact it's a really nice lightweight hat. I like the colour, like the fit. So yeah, that's the Vaga Feather Racing Cap. It's fairly expensive. It's £34, which is obviously a fair amount for a hat, but you can probably find a discount code somewhere. I know these are very popular with lots of running Instagrammers and influencers, so I think get discount codes, so you might be able to find one of them. But yeah, can confirm it's a very good hat and one that I've enjoyed using since I bought it up in Scotland. And then last pick this month are the Sayksy Blaze Mittens. We actually got these at the back end of last year's winter, but didn't have too much call to use them because by then it had warmed up a bit. But I've been using them recently in the UK, and it's just really dropped again in temperature here, and they are very warm, cozy mittens for running. They cost £49 or $62, so again, fairly expensive, but these are basically the gloves I use all the time, during and outside of running, so the cost is offset a bit by the lifestyle use as well. They are wind and water resistant. They're not fully waterproof, but they do shrug off showers quite well, and by not being fully waterproof, they are a bit more breathable than some other running mittens I've used. So if you don't want sweaty hands, then these are a good option because they have kept my hands really warm. I also took them for a few runs in Poland when I was there in December, and that is very cold, especially in the winter, and they were really good. Yeah, they're warm enough for me, and I get really, really cold hands. So they are a good option because for a mitten that is quite a bulky and warm thing, they're not as bulky as lots of other ones. You can still kind of handle things as well. Obviously, you're not going to use your phone or anything like that very well, but you can get into a running belt and get out of gel kind of with these, a bit better than with other Mittens if you don't want to take them off. But they're also very easy to get on and off, even though they've got a fairly good seal around the wrist there. They're not so tight, it's really hard to get them off again. Sometimes can be a problem with very warm gloves, I find. So that's the Sayksy Blaze Mittens, a really good set of gloves for the very cold period that is coming up now for us runners in the Northern Hemisphere. They'll keep your hands for it basically warm in any kind of run. It will still be a little bit warmer than very thin, lightweight gloves, obviously, for if you're looking at hard sessions or races, but they do have a relaxed enough fit that you can put on a very tight, thin glove underneath. So you could use these as an overlayer and then take them off when you do start to overheat perhaps on the run and just use the gloves underneath.
I've been doing a huge test of hundreds of different gels, bars, shakes, and all sorts of running fuel for Runners World, which will be out in the new year, that test. And I took some of these Strykr bars, I think that's how you pronounce it, Strykr Bar 50 Endurance Energy bars with me on a solo marathon test of the No Blast 5 that I did. That'll be on the channel somewhere around here. And these were excellent. They've got a nice Rice crispy bar texture that's chewy but not too chewy. The date almond and sea salt was delicious, sweet but with a nice salty edge to it, really kind of melts in the mouth as well. But there's chocolate chip and apple cinnamon and caramel flavours too. The flavours I really like. They're not too artificial. They don't have that running fuel kind of fake thing going on, which you can get with some bars. I really like that. And the 50 grams of carbohydrates you get in what is essentially really quite a light bar is actually really great. Now, most runners won't want to pack these for faster runs, but for your long, slow meanders where you don't mind going down a gear to be able to chew and eat, they're really great. This is definitely a new snack for my ultra efforts. As part of my big fuel test, I've had to use a lot of carb drink mixes, Morton Tailwind, SIS, Better Fuel, that kind of stuff. And so I've gone back to a running belt design that I've not used for a long time, and that's this New Balance running bottle pack. It comes with a 500ml bottle that's sort of holstered here. It's great for fuel mixes, but obviously it also offers another way if you want to carry water in a hard flask, which I also quite like. When I first ran marathons and ultras, I'd have a belt like this strapped to me. In fact, I ran the marathons of Saab with one, which gave me a third water bottle in addition to the two that I had on my sort of chest. So you can, basically go over a litre of water. I tend to swing the pack round to the back to have the bottle at the back rather than the front, just because I feel like it's out of the way and a bit more balanced and you can just pull it out. I've forgotten how nice it is to run without having bottles up on your chest sort of bouncing around as well. Now, I wouldn't choose this form factor for ultra necessarily, but for runs around a couple of hours where you want a little bit of stash space and an easy hard bottle here to carry, this is a good solution. There's a big pouch here as well on the front that's big enough. It's got a nice zip pull that's large and easy to get to. There is this kind of bungee extra bit out the front, but I didn't find it too useful. Even my lighter jackets sort of would work their way loose. But if you're looking for a bottle belt, this one I think works really nicely as an alternative way to carry water and fuel. Now it's that time of the year again. The Leggings runs are back, and a pair I've added to my regulars are these adidas TERREX leggings. They are built for taming trails, really. They're like a trail type, but they're just as happy helping you eat the road as well. I found them to be an excellent utility type with great versatility. Combines bucket loads of storage space that you don't normally find actually in a lot of tights, but also a comfortable, flexible fit. They've got a mid-weight fabric that's nice and silky, does a great job of boosting warmth without being overbearing. It's good in kind of most conditions, actually. The waistband packs 3 stretch mesh compartments. There's a small zippered pocket as well, rear, that's good for the odd gel or the headphones case. There's a zippered thigh pocket that will holster your phone, and pole loops if you're tackling serious treks. With ventilating mesh knee panels here as well that give a little bit of flexibility. Got nice secure elasticated cuffs on the bottom, reflective strips as well for a bit of safety. A lot of clever details in what I think is a really good, comfy, versatile type.
So I'm a big fan of running caps. I buy them all the time, and every time I go and do a marathon, I'll always buy a running cap from the race as a souvenir. And I've got far too many. I've got about 60 or 70 running caps now, and they do vary massively on how good they actually are. Some of them are a bit too thick, some of them are a bit too rigid, some of them don't manage sweat very well. So there are certain running caps that I use a lot, and some that I just keep as souvenirs from races that are never to be used for running again. This is a really good one. This is the New Balance 5 panel cap. Now, one thing that I look at when I buy running caps is the fit. Some running caps can be really shallow on the head. Don't really like that. I don't like them too rigid as well. I like them to be quite flexible because I tend to ruin them a bit. If you get one that has quite a rigid tip, I tend to sort of scrunch it up and then it gets ruined and I can't wear it again because it doesn't look right. So this New Balance 5-panel cap, it has 5 panels, which is how the fit looks. It's the more fashionable style of running caps that people tend to wear now. It's really, really comfortable, very flexible. You can stuff it in your bag and it's absolutely fine. It's got these perforated holes in the top for breathability, but the material is really thin as well. So it handles sweat really well. If you sweat in this, it dries off quite quickly, and I find that I can wash it really easily as well, and it dries quite quickly after rinsing it under the tap or anything like that. Very comfortable to wear, very easy. It's got a little plastic buckle at the back which can tighten up quite simply, and it has a bit of a visor around the top section which is used for absorbing sweat so it doesn't drip into your eyes when you're out running. There are some different colorways of this. I couldn't find this exact colorway on the New Balance website, but you can find it cheaper on some other sites if you put New Balance 5-panel performance cap into Google. But yeah, it's really solid running cap. If you're looking for a running cap for the summer or the winter, this is a great option and isn't too expensive. So socks, we always have socks on this video and we try a lot of different ones out. We've mentioned Stance a few times, but I've recently been testing a few different versions of Stance and I've learned a little bit more about the different types of socks that they have. So Stance, if you're a runner, you'll probably know about Stance because they're one of the biggest sock brands out there, and for good reason. I have Stance socks that I've had for absolutely ages. I've been wearing them for years and years and they haven't ever perished or I haven't had any major problems with them. But it's always nice to pick up some new ones because they do feel a bit nicer when you get new ones. So these are Stance performance socks, and they're pretty much the same as I've got already, but there are lots of different colorways that Stance do. So if you go onto the website, you can find all the different versions of the socks in loads of different colorways, loads of great designs, and some really interesting ones. They have like Star Wars and stuff on there. But one thing I hadn't tested before with these socks is that they have different thickness levels of the socks. So the ultralight version is really good for running if you're wearing race shoes. So if you're running in really tight race shoes, you can. I tend to avoid wearing thick socks because they can rub or feel a little bit too restrictive in the shoe. So you get the ultralight version, which are very comfortable. They still have plenty of support on them around the toes and the ankle and the heel section of the sock. Very comfortable to wear, very breathable, the ultralight version, and well worth picking up if you're looking for a good race sock. They also have the light version, which is a little bit thicker. It has a lot more support around the heel section of the foot and around the toe section, so you get a little bit more of that padding in the shoe, makes them a little bit more comfortable to wear, but they're still very breathable as well. And these ones that I wear are the slightly longer ones, the mid socks that I don't tend to wear the shorter socks just because I don't find them very comfortable. But these really hold on to the ankle comfortably very well and don't fall down. And then I've also been testing the mid-level cushioning, which gives you a lot more padding across the whole of the sock. Definitely good if you're looking at running in a shoe, maybe a big cushion shoe that's quite plush and you want a little bit of extra padding. Still quite breathable, but I definitely wouldn't use these out in the heat just because they're a little bit too thick for me if I'm wearing big shoes. So then I'd go for the mid sock. So there's some great options from Stance at the moment. When it comes to running socks, they're pretty standard priced, around £16, £17, which is sort of what you're going to be looking at if you're getting a pair of good quality socks. But it does make a difference getting good quality socks if you're doing a lot of running. I used to run in normal socks quite a lot, got a lot of blisters, didn't find them very comfortable, so I always use running socks now, and Stance is one of the best options out there, and they have all these different versions that you can get. My last pick this month is an expensive one, so I apologise. I'm sure some of you will get annoyed in the comments because I often do when we mention Soar, but this is the Soar Winter Anorak. Now, this is a powerhouse when it comes to the winter. I don't tend to wear really thick jackets that much, but it's got down to 0 degrees now, and going out for a run is really, really difficult, especially if you're going out for an easy run. When I'm doing intervals in 0 degrees, I'm fine. I get quite hot. I can wear a t-shirt and I start sweating regardless of the temperature. But when I'm doing a long, easy run in those kind of temperatures, I like to wear a really good jacket. Especially if it's raining, if it's snowing, anything like that. The Winter Anorak is a jacket from Soar, which is very expensive, but it really, really does a good job. It is designed to be water repellent. It also has this really tightly woven exterior, so it really keeps the warm in. It doesn't feel like it would. It feels like a relatively light jacket, but when you've got it on, it really warms you up. It's really good for those long runs, especially if you really don't want to go out in the cold. It has a hood on it, as well as this front section. The zip goes really high up over the face, so you sort of cover your mouth a little bit with it, which works really well if it is really bad conditions. It has a pocket in the front, which is useful for things like your card or maybe a key. And in the back, you also have a much bigger pocket, which you can put gels in and things like that. So there's plenty of storage in it, especially for such a lightweight jacket. Quite often with some of the lightweight jackets, you don't get any storage in at all. So it's good to get that on it. But also the other thing about it is that it's nice and breathable as well. So despite the fact that it really does keep you warm, it does feel relatively, allows you to sweat comfortably without feeling like you're wearing a plastic bag on you, which a lot of the waterproof ones can. And finally, it has thumb hooks in the arms, which is essential for me. I always want thumb hooks on my jackets, so really, really comfortable. What I would say about it is Soar tend to size for the more slight person, so I always get a large. I don't normally wear a large in any other brand, but with Soar I always buy large tops just because they don't really fit my shape perfectly. That's it from us on this belated monthly guide. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click that little bell. If you go into the caption below, you can find it to our podcast, which comes out at the end of each month. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.